Families, I think, do well if they talk about things that most of us don't like to talk about: death, end of life, funeral arrangements, things like that. Those conversations, by the way, go a whole lot better than you think they might. What I want to talk about right now, however, is whether or not you should talk to your family about your estate plan. And the way to, I think, approach that is to ask yourself, if you don't have any kind of conversation and the will is read, what's going to be the impact? Visualize the old English mansion with everyone sitting around and the lawyer sitting behind the desk pulling out the will, and the kids are there all dressed up, and the evil stepmother there who's going to walk away with everything. Well, we don't do that anymore. I mean, if we did, the kids would have on earphones listening to pop music and no doubt texting their friends, and the evil stepmother would probably be playing with her BlackBerry. But ask yourself, how's this going to play, my will, with my family? How's it going to play? Is it going to cause resentment in the family? Am I going to cause my family to argue, to split up, to hate each other? And sometimes that happens. Oftentimes you can prevent that from happening by talking with them. Let me give you a very typical example. Say you have two children and you leave more money to one than to the other. If you don't have a conversation, one's going to say, look, Mom and Dad loved my brother more than me. And that is something horrible for someone to think. Money is love. And if you leave more money to somebody, they're going to think they loved me more. And think about the times when you were like sitting in your office and you saw that bozo at the next desk, and you found out that that bozo was making more money than you. You resented that, even though you might have been making a great salary yourself. The mere fact that someone's getting more automatically causes a lot of resentment. So what would you do in that situation? You'd have a conversation with your two kids and say, listen, we're going to leave your brother more money because your brother needs more money because he has 3 children, and one's somewhat disabled, so we're going to give him more money. Now, it could be during that conversation, once you have it, that the brother will say, no, that's fine, thanks, but I would rather get just an equal share because I think that's more fair, and then you can go and change your will. Let's say another example is you're going to leave a lot of money to charity or to a friend. And will that just come as a shock, make your immediate family angry? Well, it might be a really good idea to talk to them and explain your reasoning and why you are going to do that. If you have these conversations, you might also want to cover who's going to get the family heirlooms. Most family fights occur not over money, but occur over who gets the grandfather clock. So once you have this conversation, you can have your kids decide who gets what, make a list, and that way you are preventing probably a fight downstream. And it's one of the real gifts you can give to your family. Now, of course, these conversations may create a lot of hostility, and you're going to have to play that by ear, saying, well, it could have these good goals, but maybe it's not going to handle it. You know your family. Maybe you might want to say, I want to have a conversation one at a time with separate kids, or go over a period of time. One last thing I want to leave you with is whether or not you should talk about how much money you have. Now, children with aging parents are going to be worried about finances. Will they be called upon to help support you? And if so, they should know that. If they aren't, they should know that too, because then they don't have to continue to worry about that. There is a problem, and I hope you're all in the problem, have this problem. If you have too much money and the kids think that they're going to get it, that may destroy them. And there are countless instances of people counting on a big inheritance and not going to college, not getting a job, not doing much of anything, and then the inheritance doesn't come through. A classic illustration of that, of course, is in Dickens, Charles Dickens' Bleak House. And there one of the characters was going to come into this huge amount of money, and there was a will contest. The case went on for years. Eventually, the estate had no more money left. Why? Because they paid all the money to the lawyers that were fighting the will. The only good thing about Bleak House was that it sent law school applications soaring.